Welcome everyone to Ladder Daily Digest. We honor creators and we are doing some specials on Sunstone creators. And today we have Erin Olsen, who's doing a workshop called, go ahead, you say it.
Oh God, Meditation with a Mormon Witch.
Meditation with a Mormon Witch. It's nice to meet a Mormon witch.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks for coming on the show. Let's see, give us maybe a 5-minute rundown of your life up to a big change in your life, we'll say.
Sure. I was born and raised Mormon fundamentalist. I stayed there. I got married there. I started transitioning out after I had my second baby. I think most of that had to do with the inconsistencies. One family could do something and get away with it, and another family couldn't. And I didn't understand that.
And Erin, let's go back to your early experience in the church as far as like what I'm also interested in is, were you incorporated in the wards for Sunday school and different things? So you had your own church services. What were the church services like when you were 12 or something?
Very similar to what they currently have over there. We would meet up at the RCA building. The building is huge compared to a ward house. And so you could see everyone in the area and be all together, which I super loved. But that meant that giving talks was like the most horrifying thing you could do because there were so many people in the audience. We would
it'd be like giving a talk at stake conference.
It is. I'm sure it is. Yes. And that was hard. But we would do sacrament meeting. We would do Sunday school. We would do firesides. It was a social outlet. You got to hang out with your friends. I loved sitting with my friends during church.
And did you have separate schooling as well, or did you go to public school?
So I went to public school till 5th grade, and then I went to Plig Kid School, which was at the RCA building as well. I absolutely loved it. I do regret getting a subpar education, but on the social side, it was food for my soul. And I definitely really appreciated it.
So would you say like the things you learned was a good education, but you're just so limited in learning what the real world knows that makes it subpar?
My science teacher went on a vacation and my substitute teacher stepped in and she was currently on a kick. And she said, "You guys, I have discovered the truth. Dinosaurs still exist. They are on an island in the ocean and you can go there and you can find them." And for 3 days, our science class was all about the fact that dinosaurs still exist.
I'm thinking, let's do fundraisers and get a field trip going.
Yes, exactly. Well, and I did have the best field trips. I really did. They were amazing. And I'm profoundly grateful for that as well. But when I say subpar, occasionally that meant that someone's personal opinion became the curriculum. Yeah. And you didn't know when it transferred into that.
Right. But that's like when I talk to people, when I joke with people, 90% is jokes with a little bit of truth. And the other 10% is 100% truth. But nobody knows when I'm joking or when I'm telling the truth until they think about it for a long time.
I get that. Just don't be a teacher. You'll be fine.
So do you have any aspirations for college or anything, or was it just to be a wife?
My mother really wanted me to go to college. She saw college as a form of freedom and security. I agree with her at this point in my life. But I was really bored. I was really bored. I wanted adventure in my life. And within my family, we had our interests, which were great. My dad did so many interesting things. Like he integrated us. He decided he loved the Jewish traditions in Judaism, and he incorporated those into our household. And then he killed Christmas, which was a downer. He did Native American sweat lodges that he made very, very Mormon. And I don't even know how many I've done. We did so many. He would do feelings treatments, emotion code, body code, paradigms, all these things. So I had things that were interesting, that were coming into our sphere that we were supported in learning about. But I had learned all of that and I wanted more. So,
And also women had gifts. They had special gifts, right?
oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Well, and my dad was amazing in the fact that he learned this and then offered it to the community. Absolutely love that about him. And he had wives that were proficient in it as well. And I love the fact that in Mormondom, it's seen as gifts. They're seen as healers, but in substance, it's witchcraft. In substance, it's practicing magic for the betterment of your community.
Yeah. Does it work?
Well, a lot of people felt like it did. A lot of people felt bettered and benefited, and I am one of those people who felt benefited by it.
Just like father's blessings or something like that, or blessings for the sick. It,
Yeah.
at least it's a very emotional, connecting
Mm,
time, right? You can,
like,
it's a thing that can bond people.
totally. Well, and for my for myself in the magic space, I've seen enough people who will have a magical experience for you and then tell you about it. If you don't feel it in your body, if you don't have the magical experience yourself, then it lacks the substance to me. For me, it has to be in you. You have to have
Yeah.
lived to be yours.
It's almost like when Joseph Smith said, "Hey, I see an angel in this room. Don't you?" And was
Yeah.
like, yeah, probably, right?
Maybe.
So if you're having an experience and we're here, we're experiencing it with you. So
Yeah.
that could have happened.
Yes. Well, um, I'm a big fan of the psychedelic concept in that space.
There you go.
That
There's
makes a
there's a
lot.
I think there's a couple other sessions that talk a little bit about that, I think, in this
I'm very excited for them. I truly am.
symposium. Yeah.
Yep, truly. Alex Criddle put together some really good stuff and he's sharing it, so I'm excited.
Yeah. So at some point you become disillusioned with your childhood religion, we'll say.
Yep. Yep. Well, um I simply opened the door to more. I didn't
Mhm.
have to I didn't have to cut everything off. I simply allowed diversity into my life. And I didn't know how to handle the inconsistencies in the community. That sense of hypocrisy was really intense in my being. And so I created a lot of space and then I differentiated. I'm not you, you are not me. I don't think the way you think. I need space here. And I began to see the dysfunction and the harm. So the
So some
sex,
people would say nuance, you became nuanced, and that's what you mean by given space. Like you can have your beliefs and I can have mine, and we're still can be Mormons, but at some point you see more harm that you hadn't seen before, and it makes you want to distance yourself from it.
oh, definitely. And a lot of people from Mormon fundamentalism like to step out gently, where they leave and they go to the Brighamite branch.
Hmm.
I wasn't primed that way. I mean, I really genuinely feel like I was primed in extremism, even within my own family. It's like we would do stuff, but it was always very, there was always a lot of intensity. It was extreme in its expression. So my honey and I together, we cult hopped from one extreme expression to another over and over and over and over again. And still to this day, like we'll integrate into another community, another religious belief system, learn it inside out, and then move on to another one. So we will still continue to do this. We love that process. I love what it shows me about myself. I love learning about other people's belief systems. It's beautiful.
Right. It's a way that you connect with other human beings, and
Yes.
you revel in their experience, but don't necessarily have to believe it or experience it for yourself.
Almost more like I have a magical mind. So I step into the room to experience it myself. So when I talk to Mormons, I'm like, I love that you enjoy your God. Have you met any of the other ones? I highly recommend them.
There you go. And that comes from your fathers openness to new experiences and things.
Definitely. That definitely helped me in that regard.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about what your workshop is.
Mm.
Nobody has to bring Eye of Newt or anything like that in order
I
to
don't
participate. You're going to supply like bat wings and different
that.
things.
Oh, 100%. All ground up into powders so that they can like snuff them up their nose.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And with
No,
a little mushroom in it to make sure that they do get an experience.
I love that. Psychedelics are like a hammer. I would prefer to use like a paintbrush. Let's be soft, let's be gentle, and let it
Okay.
be.
Because you know that every human can go deep and can go to a deeper emotional state and experience things a little bit differently than when they're walling off the outside world to do their own job. You know, don't want to listen to my supervisor, don't want to listen to my negative friends, or don't want to listen to the news that's going on, you know, right now. And they can wall that off. And probably the thing that you're trying to do is like break down all the walls and experience from a deep place
Mm.
something new.
I love that. When I do session work with someone, it's important that I like to communicate that it doesn't matter if they tell me. They don't need to tell me. I'm going to cue questions. I'm going to invite them to look at something. And the thing I often invite them to look at is the thing that they want to take through process with me. Because I'm doing Sunstone, I chose to integrate the theme of this year, which is family heirlooms, which are full of positive associations, but also a fair bit of hurt. And if people don't want to do that, they do not have to. You can take the questions and apply it to something else. But
Right.
the invitation is if you connect to this heirloom, what is your experience associated with it? What feelings come up for you? What memories come up for you? What thoughts come up for you? What are the negative associations that you have with this? What does it mean to you in a way that's positive as well as negative? And as I cue these questions, people begin to include their conscious processing mind in with their emotional and sometimes trauma based experience
Mm.
with it. And they're starting to open up a dialogue. And as they open that dialogue, they can go deeper and deeper and deeper until they find the thing that's what would you love? What would you absolutely love to have with this? If you could have your miracle, what would that look like? And what is it that you've associated negatively with this that you need to say no to? What's the boundary that you feel you need to reinforce so that you can enjoy having this in your life?
So somehow people put in their own limitations, they self-limit themselves. And if they can see what it is, maybe acknowledge it, thank it for being there, for protecting them, but then
Mm-hmm.
move beyond it, maybe.
Yes, I love that. That's a great way to put it. I think that if you can honor the positive as well as the negative, feel grateful and express that gratitude for yourself for holding this space, and also acknowledge like what this heirloom meant to everyone else. Then you can unhook it so that it's no longer bound by your trauma as a trauma association. It now can become something new. It can become something useful to you, something that uniquely ties you to your heritage, that is so genuine and so real and so palpable. It hits talisman territory, which is so Mormon. And
That's
I
right.
love that.
Yeah. And so let's see, the words that is the theme has to do with heirlooms, right?
Mm.
And
Yes.
so heirlooms are family treasures passed on and on through generations.
Yes.
And so if you think about it, witchcraft or some variation of magic, or, you know, like in other cultures, voodoo, and I'm sure there's lots of names for it. And meditation is something that's probably been around for a long, long time. And
Mhm.
all those things, you know, are is a way that our ancestors coped with whatever was going around them. And those people survived and passed on their genes so that we all have similar genes and genetic makeup, and we can experience these things again. It doesn't mean necessarily that we'll say, like Mormons think something's either true, like it works every time scientifically, but it's something that can be available to some people who are willing to experience it, well, I'll say.
Well, I think that the potential for it to simply become something beautiful and meaningful, it really feels like purifying a relationship. If you can purify a relationship, it can become something that's an asset to you moving forward. And at the point where we've done the cognitive processing, we shift into sound therapy or a sound bath. I don't call them sound baths because everyone started getting hooked by the word bath, and that just weirded me out. But commonly they're called sound baths. I call them sound meditations because I'm literally bringing you through a meditation. And in that space of doing that, we're resetting your nervous system out of fight flight. We're resetting it so you can feel that calm. Your cognitive mind is more available, which means that you can update easier. And as we shift and relax and hit peacefulness in a space that used to not have any peacefulness, that again liberates you to create this into something that's useful to you. And at the end, we'll offer probably 10 minutes for people to either openly share or write down on their notebook the experience that they had, allow them to process and like anchor it a little bit.
Yeah. The one negative thing about Sunstone is usually every session, there's like 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 really good presentations that you want to go to. So we've given people a taste of yours, and hopefully a couple of extra people will come and knowing a little bit more about you and about they don't have to be afraid of the word witch or afraid of the word Mormon. And interestingly, I was talking to my aunt about meditation a few years back, and she was like, I tried to meditate once, but I felt dark and horrible about it. And it's like, do you know that David O. McKay recommended meditation to people? It's not a dark thing. You just were experiencing something different, and you interpret it as dark because the church says, no playing cards, right? No doing this, no doing that, no contentions of the devil. So when something you didn't understand happened, you just assumed it was a bad thing. Thanks for coming today. I hope everyone that sees this episode likes and subscribes. And if you're going to go to Sunstone, go see a Mormon witch. If only one reason to go to Sunstone, that would be it for me. But anyhow, thanks for coming on, and everybody have a good rest of the week. Bye-bye.